Good morning, Rabbi. We were asked by several of our friends regarding the issue of two adjacent rooms or adjacent houses that have people, both of them have several people in there. Do they combine to make a minyan together, or are they considered to be in a separate domain? These two people. Why is that? Because the truth is that two separate houses or two separate rooms are considered to be a separate domain. They don't combine with each other. And the reason is because there's a mechitza, there's a wall between them. Even though there's a door that's open between them, even if it's a doorway without a door or with a door, doesn't make any difference. It's considered to be a separate domain. And the door doesn't turn it into one domain. It's just an entrance from one place to the other. But it's unless the whole wall is totally ripped out and collapsed between the two rooms or the two different houses, or two different courtyards, whatever it may be, if there is a mechitza between them, a wall, so it's considered to be two different domains. That's what we see in the Gemara, in Masechet Eruvin, Tzadik Bet, Amud Bet. And it's brought down, this whole discussion also in the Shulchan Aruch, Siman Nun Hey Orachaim, and over there it tells us, the Shulchan Aruch in Sif Yud Gimel, that in order to be combining into a minyan, that we have, let's say, 5 people here, 5 people there, in 2 separate rooms, or 2 separate houses, or 2 separate courtyards, they have to be in one domain. It's not good enough that they're in 2 places, even though there is a doorway between them, as we said, entranceway. Doesn't make any difference. It says Shulchan Aruch, it's not going to help you. So what happens is that if these 2 groups are in 2 different rooms, therefore they don't combine to be a minyan. So what do they have to do in order to become a minyan? They have to step over to the other side. One group has to give in and step over to the other side and join into one room or one house altogether, and this way they're going to become a minyan. Otherwise, there is no minyan. But the question is now, okay, that's pretty clear according to the poskim. Nobody really argues with that. But the question is now, what about if there is a field of vision between them, a line of vision, that some of them can see each other through that doorway or through whatever it is that there's a window there, there's some kind of entranceway. So the question is, if they see each other through that entranceway or the doorway, are they combining to become one group because of the field of vision, line of vision? The truth is that when it comes to the laws of zimun, right, which is what we do before Birkat Hamazon, we need to have 3 people or 10 people, depending on how you do the zimun, in order to make the zimun, which is the blessing which is made before we start the Birkat Hamazon, grace after meals. It's done with at least 3 men, as we said, or if we have 10 men, we can say also the name of God as well. So what happens is that over there we find in the Siman Kuf Tzadikei, Sif Aleph, over there it says that if there's a line of vision between the 2 groups which are in 2 different rooms, or 2 different corners of one room, whatever it may be, so over there the line of vision does combine them. What does that mean? Some of them can see each other, one another. Not all of them have to see each other, but some of them. So if some of them see one another, says the Shulchan Aruch over there, and Siman Kuf Tzadikei, as we mentioned, that they do combine and become one group. So the question is now, what about the rule of minyan? Can we learn the rule of minyan, which is in the Shulchan Aruch Siman Nun Hey, and take it from the laws of zimun? Just like if there's a field of vision, line of vision, they combine over there with the laws of zimun, so they also combine also over here in the laws of minyan. So the truth is that we find a very big machloket about this, just like everything else. There's a big machloket, there's a big dispute in the poskim and the authorities regarding this, if we do compare the laws of zimun to the laws of minyan, or these are considered to be 2 separate rules. We have 2 different sides, 2 different camps over here. On the one side, there's a big camp of rabbis who are forbidding this, and they say that they do not combine. We can't compare the laws of zimun to the laws of minyan. Who are they? First of all, we have the Rashbesh, right, who was one of the big poskim about 600 years ago, and he writes from the Sephardi posek from Spain. He writes that they do not combine. So what does that mean? He says that these two rules regarding minyan and zimun are 2 different things altogether. We can't learn one from the other. They're not connected. There's no connection. And the truth is that he is supported by the Talmud, in a sense. What does that mean? That the Talmud doesn't really equate the laws of zimun to the laws of Minyan. We don't find that it's equated anywhere in the Talmud. One is, as we said, it's written in Masechet Eruvin regarding the laws of Minyan. The laws of Zimun are written in the Masechet Brachot somewhere else. It's a different place. So therefore, right, he seems to have some reasoning why he says that there's no connection between these two the different sugyot, two different topic matters altogether. The Rashba says like this, and there are also many others who agree with him. We find also Maran Achida, right? The Achida was a great Sephardi posek about 300 years ago. It's considered to be very authoritative and very accepted. He also writes that they do not combine, even if there's a field of vision between them or line of vision. Also, we find a Kaf HaChaim, also one of the big Sephardi poskim as well. He also writes that they do not combine. So, as we said, we have several poskim like this, weighty poskim, very chashuv poskim, important poskim, who say that they do not combine. On the other hand, we have also a line of poskim who say that they do combine. Who is this? First of all, we see the Rashba who says this in one of his chuvot, his responses. He said that it's possible they do combine if there's a field of vision between them, a line of vision. So that's one posek who seems to go this way. The Rashba, very big posek, one of the big great Rishonim, the Rashba, considered to be one of the greats. So we have him, and also then we also find in the Rosh that he also says this. The Rosh also writes that they do combine. What case are we talking about? There's a case brought down in the laws of Zimun, and also it's brought down in also the laws of Minyan. What does that mean? That if there's let's say 5 people in one room and 4 people in the other room, so we have 9 altogether, and there's a Shliach Tzibur, the one who conducts the prayers, the Chazan, he's in the middle, in the doorway between them, so he combines them. He sees both camps. He sees this room, he sees that room, he's right in the middle, smack in the middle, in the doorway, so he does combine them. That's what it says regarding the laws of Zimun and also the laws of Minyan. So the Rosh comes, and he's the one who makes this chidush, this novel idea, but just like it applies in the laws of Zimun, as we find in the Talmud, it also applies to the laws of Minyan as well. So comes Maran Bet Yosef in the Siman Nun Hey, and he says, where did the Rosh get this idea that regarding Minyan, that they do combine in a manner like this, where the Chazan is in the middle, and there's 2 camps on both the sides, the different rooms, different courtyards, whatever it is, different houses. How they combine? So says Maran, the Rosh probably learned this from the laws of Zimun, even though the Rosh doesn't say that explicitly. He learns it from the laws of Zimun. He says he probably learns it from there. Why? Because we see that the law applies over there, so it must be that it comes from there. So says Maran that he learns it from there. So the truth is, according to Maran, that he says that the Rosh learns it from the Zimun. So therefore, we see that the Rosh does equate the laws of Zimun to the laws of Minyan. So therefore, there is a connection over here between one and the other, and this is exactly what is brought down also in the Tur as well, who was the son of the Rosh. So we find, according to this line of thinking, we have the Rashba, we have the Rosh, we have the Tur, we have Maran Bet Yosef. They all say that there is an equation between comparison between the laws of Zimun and laws of Minyan. So therefore, on this side, we have also a very big poskim who agree to be matir, to permit this, that they should combine together in one Minyan, just because they have a field of vision or line of vision. Why? Because the field of vision, line of vision, also comes from the laws of Zimun. So if you want to learn this type of law from Zimun, you also have to learn the other law of Zimun, which is actually the more common law, which everybody knows, which is brought down, as we said in Siman Kuf Tzadikei, Sif Aleph, that if they have a field of vision, line of vision between each other, they do combine into one group. And so also, according to this logic we just mentioned, it should also apply as well to the laws of Minyan. So therefore, if there's a field of vision between them, it should apply and it should be okay. So we see that, as we said, there are also, besides this, there are also some all the ones we mentioned now. There's also many Ashkenazi poskim who also seem to agree with this permission of the Rosh, the leniency of the Bet Yosef. Who is that? The Rama. The Rama, who's the rabbi of the Ashkenazim, the posek of the Ashkenazim, he doesn't argue with Maran Bet Yosef regarding this in the Shulchan Aruch. So therefore, you can see that he agrees with Maran. Otherwise, he would have said something. He would have objected. So therefore, it must be that Maran what he says that they combine also regarding Minyan, when there's a field of vision, the Rama also agrees with that. Who do we find also that agrees with this? The Pri Megadim, one of the great poskim of the Ashkenazim as well, about 300 years ago. He also writes explicitly that they do combine when there's a field of vision, when there's a line of vision, and also we find this as well in the Mishnah Berurah, brought down also in that Siman Nun Hey, in several places over there, also in the Biur Halacha. The Mishnah Berurah says, the Chafetz Chaim, he writes also that they do combine when there's a line of vision between them. He brings down the sources which we mentioned. So we have here a great machloket between one side and the other. So the question is, what is the halacha? How is the halacha decided in this case? How do we go? So the truth is, Rabbatai, very simple. According, that there's a very big rule in halacha that we favor usually the rulings of the Shulchan Aruch. That's the way it is. So therefore, since Maran Bet Yosef, who is the author of Shulchan Aruch, he writes that there is an equation between the laws of Zimun and laws of Minyan. So therefore, we really should favor his opinion over the others. So therefore, Maran was lenient regarding this. Raman Bet Yosef, who was the author of Shulchan Aruch, and also the rabbi of the Ashkenazim, who was the Rama, he also agrees with Maran. So therefore, both Ashkenazim and Sfaradim seems like they can definitely rely on this ruling and say that they do combine if they're in two separate rooms and there's a field of vision between them. A little bit of a problem is that, as we said, that some Achronim, some of the later authorities of the Sfaradim, don't seem to want to agree with this line of thinking. They seem to want to say that they're not really sure if Maran Bet Yosef is really lenient regarding the issue of field of vision. They say that the fact that he was lenient regarding the Shliach Tzibur, the Chazan who's in the middle of them in the doorway, it's not really the same thing as the issue of the field of vision. That's what they want to say. But the truth is that you cannot really say like this. It's not really logical. Why is that? Explain to you why. Because the main rule of Zimun is the issue of field of vision, which comes from the Talmud Bavli, which comes from the Gemara that we paskin like, that we go like, which is the Bavli. It comes from there. So therefore, since it comes from there, and it's considered to be one of the main rules of Zimun, and the other halacha, which says that when the Shliach Tzibur, the Chazan is in the middle, and there's two different groups in two different rooms, they also combine. That comes from the Yerushalmi. So the Yerushalmi is not so much as strong in halacha as the Bavli, because the Bavli was accepted by all the Jews. The Yerushalmi not so much. So therefore, we have to say, right, that as a rule, that if the laws of the Yerushalmi, which are not as strong, were accepted and equated regarding the laws of Zimun into the laws of Minyan, so all the more so the laws of Bavli, whatever is brought down in the Talmud Bavli, also must be equated between one and the other. It's a kol sheken. So therefore it must be that they are equated, and that's the more logical way of looking at it, and therefore it must be that Maran must be that he agrees that when there's a field of vision, line of vision between them, that they do combine and make a Minyan. And also this is brought down in a different place as well, in the same Siman, in the same chapter, in the Shulchan Aruch. We're talking about Sif Yud Daled. Also over there he talks about the case where there's a Beit Knesset, there's a synagogue, and there's one guy who's in the back of the synagogue, in the courtyard. He's not inside the building or inside the room, but what happens is that he comes in front of the window and shows himself to them, to that minyan, and they see him through the window, he sees them, they see him. So it says Maran that they do combine in a case like that. So you see from here again, right, that Maran does equate, Shulchan Aruch does equate the laws of Zimun to the laws of Minyan. So therefore, again, we see that Maran seems to go like the lenient opinion that they do combine when there's a field of vision between them. And therefore, Rabbatai, the Ikar, the main Shita, the main halacha for us, the Sfaradim and also the Ashkenazim as well, since the Rama seems to agree with this, there's no issue there whatsoever. Therefore, it must be that the halacha should be that they do combine when there's a field of vision between them, just like in the case laws of Zimun. So therefore, Rabbatai, when there's no choice, and there's two different groups in two different rooms, and they're not able to combine and get into one room for some reason, they're not able to switch over, to walk over, whatever. There are some cases like this where it's not possible. So if it's not possible, they're not able to go over. So therefore, we can say that since there's a field of vision between them, they do combine. And therefore, Rabbatai, when in the case of a need, where a person needs to make a minyan this way, he can do it if there's no other choice. But the truth is that if it's very easy for them just to walk over into the other room, the adjacent room, and make one minyan in one room, this is obviously the best way because you're doing according to all the opinions. So therefore, Rabbatai, that would be the preferred way to do it, obviously, right? Always a person should try to, if he can, as a general rule, if it's very easy for him to do it in a way which goes according to all the opinions, then why should he get into a machloket, into a dispute? There's no reason to get into a dispute for no reason. Only if there's a need for that. Otherwise, do according to everybody. Why not? If you can, and it's not costing you anything. It doesn't cost any money. It's not causing you any hardship or anything like that. Just walk over, a few feet, a few yards, whatever, to this place, to that side, whatever. What difference does it make to you? So you should, in a case like this, a person should try to fulfill all the opinions, since it's a big machloket, as we see, right? There's also the Pri Chadash, one of the big Sephardi poskim, also agrees that we can combine the two rooms if there's a field of vision. The Pri Chadash also agrees with that. So there are some big Sephardi poskim as well who agree with the lenient ruling, and therefore, Rabbatai, halacha, as we said, is that they do combine in the case of need, especially when there's no choice. Why not? We can do it, no problem. Even though there's the issue of bracha levatala, that maybe we're making a blessing in vain because we're doing chazrat hashatz, doesn't make any difference. The halacha is like that. We can rely on the Shulchan Aruch. There's no problem with that. As we said, right, that we have many poskim who seem to go this way. The Rashba, the Rosh, the Maran Bet Yosef, and we have the Pri Chadash, and we have also the Mishnah Berurah, the Pri Megadim, the Ramah. So therefore, that definitely is what to rely on. A person doesn't have to be so stubborn about these kinds of things. That's good enough. We have enough, Baruch Hashem. We have enough ammunition to do what we have to do in a case like that. There's no problem. But Rabotai, even though what we said is all true and nice and beautiful, by the way, there's also some contemporary poskim who speak about this. In the Sephardi world, I saw that in Yalkut Yosef, one of my friends showed us that also he's a little bit hesitant to be lenient regarding this. He tries to make some kind of a compromise. He says regarding the minyan, they're considered to be with the minyan, but regarding combining into one minyan, two halves of the minyan, he says they don't combine, but you are considered to be praying with the minyan if you're outside. He tries to make a compromise. It seems like he has a doubt about it, but the truth is that I think that if he would have realized that Maran Bet Yosef, as we said, is clearly lenient regarding this, if he would have put that to his attention, I think that it would have been more clear for him to decide that they are considered to be forming a minyan in a manner like this. There's also some other books as well who are a little bit stringent, but nevertheless, I will tell you, the halacha is not like them. The halacha is like Maran Bet Yosef, like the Shulchan Aruch, who say that they do combine. Anyway, there's also something that today, which is very popular, that people are now trying to make all kinds of ad hoc minyanim because of the issue of the virus and social distancing and so forth and so on. So therefore, what they're trying to do is a couple of weeks ago they invented this new contraption that they're now going. Each one is going on his porch, right? And they're making a minyan from porch to porch, on one side of a building, something like that, and they all see each other more or less. Right? That's the idea. Each one is standing on his own porch or his own balcony, whatever. And they're trying to make a minyan like that, even though they're not really standing in one domain. Each balcony, each porch, it's its own domain. Why? Because there's mechitza, there's a fence around it, so therefore it's considered to be its own domain. So the question is, according to what we just said, we try to be lenient as possible regarding this. Can we also say that each one on his porch, if they see one another, or his balcony, do they combine also to make a minyan according to what we said? They can see each other. The truth is that probably not good to be lenient that much. Why is that? Because what we spoke about, all this is based on the laws of the Talmud in Masechet Eruvin, Masechet Brachot, and over there they're talking about 2 domains. Nobody ever talks about 5 domains or 6 domains or 8 domains. That seems to be already like a little bit too far-fetched. When we seem to have no basis or source to go that far to say, right, that we're going to combine now 5 different domains or 10 different domains. What the Talmud talks about is two domains, right? One with the other. They do combine in a case like that. More than that, we don't have permission to learn. We don't have any permission to be that lenient. Tafasta merube lo tafasta. Can't go too far with these things, right? Can't exaggerate. We can only go as far as the Talmud allows us, the sources, the sages allow us to go. We can't go push too much and too far, stretch it too much because that's already, we have no permission to do that. So therefore, Rabbatai, a person really should not make a minyan like that, especially if he's doing chazat hashatz. He's doing the repetition of the Amidah, and there's bracha levatala, there's a question of blessing in vain, because if you don't have minyan, you cannot do that. So therefore, in the case of shachrit and mincha, a person really should not make a minyan like this with the porches and with the balconies, because we're not even sure. So therefore, Rabbatai, better to avoid this, not to get into this issue of making minyanim like this, even though if they pray together just the Amidah without any other issue. It's plausible, maybe there is a minyan like that. We don't know. We have really nothing to rely on. We have nothing to base ourselves on regarding this. So therefore, it's going a little bit too far. So therefore, the truth is better to avoid this. Now, Baruch Hashem, anyway, thank God that the authorities are already starting to allow holding minyanim in some manner or some other manner. Right? We heard that in Israel now they're allowing until 50 people. Over here in New York, they're talking about 15 people. Whatever it is, little by little, I think we're going to start getting back to we're going to go back to the good old way of having minyanim, Baruch Hashem, a normal minyan in one room, one place, one domain. You don't have to be jumping from one porch to another, this porch, that porch, this balcony, that balcony, the roof, jumping off the roof, God forbid, all kinds of things. We don't need this kind of thing. If we should be all in one room, at least 10 people, right, whatever, 15 people, that's okay, distancing a little bit, okay, whatever, make them happy. That's what they want. We'll make them happy, if we have to make some kind of compromise in order to make life livable. So therefore, that's the rule. When it comes to this kind of issue of porches, probably not a good idea to do this. We don't really have what to rely on. We don't have anything to base ourselves on. But when it comes to, if there's a need, and they need to combine two small groups from two different rooms or two different houses, and there's a field division, over there they can be lenient if there's not easy for them to walk over and to become one minyan. There's definitely what to rely on. But as we said over time, but if it's possible to get together and to be in one room, much better. Why not? Why not go according to all the poskim, according to all opinions? Dosh Baruch Hu should help us to do the prayers the right way, and then Dosh Baruch Hu should help us that He should accept our prayers. Titkabel tfilatenu beratzon. Amen ve'amen. Chazak u'baruch. In good health, all the ones who need healing should be healed, and the ones who are healthy should stay healthy. B'ezrat Hashem, Dosh Baruch Hu should give us a geulah shlema b'mehera v'yameinu. Amen.